April 14th, 1912. The North Atlantic Ocean was deceptively calm. Tonight, the water isn't moving at all. It looks less like an ocean and more like a sheet of black glass, reflecting the cold stars. We all know the tragic story of the Titanic, the unsinkable ship that met its doom against an iceberg, taking 1,500 innocent souls down into the freezing abyss. But history has conveniently forgotten one crucial detail. That night, the Titanic was not alone in the dark. Just 10 miles away, another massive ship was sitting completely still. This is the SS Californian, a ship that was close enough to see the Titanic's lights, close enough to see the distress rockets, and close enough to save almost everyone on board. Yet, as the Titanic sank and passengers screamed for their lives, the Californian did absolutely nothing. It simply watched. Tonight, we investigate the mystery of why. Was it a tragic misunderstanding, a trick of the light? Or was it the cold-blooded cowardice of one man, Captain Stanley Lord, the man history calls a villain? To understand the tragedy, we have to go back to the beginning, before the collision, before the panic, to a quiet Sunday evening on the freezing Atlantic Ocean. The SS Californian was a cargo ship on its way to Boston. But unlike the Titanic, which was racing to break records, the Californian was cautious. Perhaps too cautious. At 6 p.m., Captain Lord spotted ice. Not just a few chunks, but a massive field of pack ice stretching as far as the eye could see, blocking their path. He made a decision that would haunt him forever. He decided to stop the ship entirely for the night. He would not risk moving through the deadly ice in the dark. At 7:30 p.m., the Californian's wireless operator, a young man named Cyril Evans, tapped out a warning to all ships in the area to be careful. His message was specific. "We are stopped and surrounded by ice." He was trying to be helpful. He was trying to warn the Titanic before it was too late. But over on the Titanic, the radio room was chaos. The equipment had broken down earlier, and the operator, Jack Phillips, was backed up with hundreds of messages. When Evans' signal came through, it was so loud it almost blew Phillips' ears off. Phillips was tired, he was stressed, and in that moment, he snapped. He tapped back the most fatal message in maritime history. "Shut up! Shut up! I am busy! I am working Cape Race!" He silenced the only warning that mattered. Cyril Evans was insulted. It was 11:35 p.m. His shift was technically over, so he did what anyone would do. He turned off the radio and went to sleep. Just 10 minutes after the radio went silent, tragedy struck. The Titanic hit the iceberg. The metal groaned, rivets popped, and the distress calls began immediately. "CQD, SOS, come at once, we have struck a berg." But the Californian's radio was dead. The operator was asleep just a few feet away from the machine. But the radio wasn't the only way to communicate. On the deck of the Californian, Second Officer Stone saw something strange appearing on the horizon. A ship, a big one, blazing with light. Stone watched it through his binoculars. It looked like it was listing or tilting slightly in the water. Then, at 12:45 a.m., a white flash tore through the sky. A rocket, exploding high above the mysterious ship and raining down white sparks. Stone was confused. White rockets at sea mean only one thing: distress. Help us. But he hesitated. Why would a luxury liner be firing rockets? He called down to Captain Lord through the voice pipe. "Sir, the ship is firing rockets." Captain Lord, half asleep in his warm cabin, asked a ridiculous question. He asked, "Are they company signals?" implying they might just be fireworks for a party. Stone said he didn't know for sure, but they looked like distress. Between 12:45 and 1:15 a.m., the crew of the Californian watched 8 rockets go off. 8 desperate screams for help that went unanswered. They tried to signal back with a Morse lamp, a simple flashing light. But the Titanic was sinking too fast. They never saw the tiny light in the distance. By 2:20 a.m., the lights of the mysterious ship vanished. Stone thought the ship had sailed away. In reality, it had gone under the waves, forever. The sun rose over a quiet ocean. At 5:30 a.m., radio operator Evans woke up, stretched, and turned his equipment back on to start his morning shift. Within seconds, the news hit him like a physical blow. The airwaves were screaming with the news. The Titanic, the greatest ship ever built, was gone. He rushed to the bridge. Captain Lord was finally fully awake. When he heard the news, the blood drained from his face. He knew what this meant. Lord immediately ordered the ship to move. He pushed the engines to their breaking point, smashing through the ice he was so afraid of the night before. But it was a race they had already lost hours ago. They arrived at the Titanic's last coordinates at 8:30 a.m. The ocean was empty. There was no ship, just a sea of debris, deck chairs, cork life jackets, and hundreds of frozen bodies, bobbing in the morning swells. Another ship, the Carpathia, had already picked up the 700 survivors. The Californian was left to drift alone among the dead. When the Californian returned to land, they weren't greeted as heroes. They were greeted as pariahs. The press had found their new villain. Newspapers branded Captain Lord a coward who slept while people died. In the U.S. inquiry, and later the British inquiry, Captain Lord was torn apart. He claimed the ship they saw was 20 miles away, not the Titanic. But the math didn't add up. Modern analysis suggests they were only 10 to 12 miles apart. The Californian could have been there in under an hour. Some historians defend Lord. They speak of cold water mirages, a phenomenon that distorts the horizon, making ships look smaller or further away. But excuses don't change history. Captain Lord lost his job. He spent the rest of his life trying to clear his name. He died a broken man in 1962. The tragedy of the Titanic isn't just about the ice. It's about human error, pride, and the terrible cost of hesitation. The SS Californian was there. It watched the greatest disaster of the century unfold, and it remained silent, a ghost in the night. What do you think? Was Captain Lord a villain or a victim? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more mysteries.